The topic that we are going to discuss is about the leadership and the management, because I happen to be from the management discipline. Okay, that's okay. I'll be vocal. That's okay. Perfectly right. Okay. So leadership and management. How anybody of you is from the management discipline or knows anything about management? No. Because I'll start from there. No. Okay. So in any case, if you're not from that discipline, let's say be it also, because there is commerce and everything. Okay. Anyways, I am sure most of us would have heard these words, leadership and management, right?
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So even if not studied it or teach it, at least we are aware of these two words. So what is, according to you, leadership and what is management? Are they interchangeable terms? No.
So management is a process of planning, organizing, coordinating, directing, controlling.
Okay. Okay, good.
And whereas leadership is nothing but influencing the others by giving the directions, mentoring to the subordinates.
To the subordinates.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Anybody else? Good. That is what is written in the books. I endorse what is written in the book. Okay.
Leadership, exactly, it is related with division of labors.
Pardon?
It is associated with the division of labor.
Leadership.
Yeah. Because there is a one idea or there is one purpose where an entire team will work. So one who is supposed to be a leader, they guide.
And what is management in that context?
Pardon?
What will be management in that context? If that is what a leader is,
Yeah.
what are your views on management? What will be management per se?
Just a minute.
Okay, anybody else? No. Okay, see what he has mentioned. I am not aware of the name. That's okay. Your good name?
Sir, my name is Chandrapap Pujari.
Chandra Prabhuji. Chandra.
Yeah, from Gulbarga.
Okay. Okay. So what sir has mentioned, I'll start from there and then we'll build on the concept from there. Okay. Over my coming to Karnataka and just having discussion in the morning and right now in the tea time, I'll just quote few examples which are from Karnataka itself. Right. Right now in the tea time we were discussing about a university called as BHU. Right. All of us are aware of BHU. We had professor from BHU here, right? Advisor to the VC there,
Yes.
right? Who established BHU and when was it established? Who established BHU? At least, if not the year, at least we should be aware. No, who established? Yes, Sumadan Malviyaji established that, right?
Yes.
So was he a leader or was he a manager?
He's a manager.
He is a manager.
I think so.
Okay. Okay, I'll come to the regional context. Okay. In the tea break, we had some pedas also, right? Right. So there are two brands which are popular in this area, which I just learned. Okay. One is Thakur, another is Mishra. That is what I understood. It's a piece of information which is just I learned in last 15-20 minutes only. Okay, I was just analyzing the processing the discussion which is happening, right? So talk about Thakurji and Mishra Pedewala, right? What is their model? When was Thakur brand established? When was Mishra brand established? Even if not aware of the year, what is the business model of Mishra and has it changed with time or not? What is the business model of Thakur and has it changed with time or not? At least that we can talk about, right?
Thakur is leadership.
Thakur is leadership, okay. A leader, can an organization be a leader? That's the first question. So I am trying to understand, let's draw different points from how did Mishra start and where it is now, how did Thakur start and where is it now. Okay, that is what we understand that the people behind it, right, the entrepreneurs behind it, okay, who established these brands, the journey that it began. Were they leaders or were they entrepreneurs? Then we'll extend this, were they leaders or were they managers? Okay, we'll extend this discussion to understand another example from the history of Karnataka itself. Right? And then we'll take it forward from there. And then we'll go to Madan Mohan's list, and then we'll talk about other things and everything. Okay? How was Thakur's brand established? How was Mishra brand established, by the way? How the business model has evolved? You must be aware, I thought, maybe. No? Anyways, just to give you an idea, I thought maybe you are aware of this. Mishra brand started with, selling pedas. The founder, entrepreneur, okay, needs to have some leadership skills as well, right? So he had that vision that he will only sell. What was he chasing? What was he chasing? Was he chasing money? But he started selling pedas. If you see how Mishra brand has evolved over a period of time, the original founder used to manufacture pedas in a limited quantity, right? Had to have 250 grams of packets of pedas. One person in the queue, no advance booking, nothing doing, right? Do you understand this? Right? And then, when those 25 kgs of pedas were sold, into 50 grams of packing, one to every individual in the queue, no advance booking, nothing doing, no influence. Right? That is where the journey started. I hope you are aware of this, more than I am aware of, right? Have you heard this story or not? No, okay. That is where it started. Okay? Now, obviously he was managing, he was doing a lot of things, right? But was he a leader or not? That's the fundamental question. Because the way Mishra brand has evolved over a period of time is very different. Okay? So the Mishra brand actually, now in the second generation, when the son came, when the children came, and the third generation when the grandchildren came, the business model has completely changed. Okay? Right? And the brand in the process has got little diluted. Right? So Mishra brand, which used to sell only a limited quantity, in the queue, no advance booking, right, went in for expansion of Olympic products in the second generation, and the third generation of entrepreneurs, they went into getting into the franchising model also, right? And generally when you get into franchising model, you get defocused and you focus more on volumes, right, and focus less on the quality of the product. You start encashing, you start building the brand. Right? Whereas, okay, now I'll try to draw an analogy between this Mishra Pedawala and Madan Mohan. Okay? Now Madan Mohan established Banaras Hindu University. Again, the second context is from the same PE discussion. Okay? Madan Mohan established Banaras Hindu University long ago, 7 generations ago, right? And the policies given by Pandit Mohan Malviya, he was a visionary from that perspective. So if we see the brand equity of that university, BHU per se, which exists today, is because of the vision of the leader at that point of time, and the systems designed by the leader at that point of time. So he was a leader come manager, right? So he had that kind of vision, and he established the policies which says that no family member or no relative will be employed because he is connected to me. Right? That kind of governance practices is established. Right? Selection will be solely based on merit. Right? That means the cause and the commitment to the education system for whatever purpose, that kind of vision he had, that he had a vision for establishing a Indo-centric education system at that point of time. Right? And he donated obviously fund. Now today we talk about CSR funds, which is mandatory, but that point of time it came out of volunteerism, right? Right? And we can talk about several other organizations in higher education. This we have, like Kilasar was talking about. The education system the funding has to come from the society and for the society. So from the society for the society. In Delhi, in University of Delhi in Delhi, we have, Shri Ramji established SRCC. Tata established this. Right? So a lot of philanthropists at that point of time established this. So all of them were leaders. If you see, we really do not know what kind of, we really do not know who their other second generation, third generation, fourth generation people are in the family. Right? So when a leader actually creates leader irrespective of the biological relation he or she has a vision, has a purpose of life, and establishes, and if he's a manager, which is even better. So he implements that vision in such a format, develops a process in such a format that irrespective of the generation who handles the business, okay, or handles that ecosystem, will not be in a position to dilute it to a much extent. Okay, so even today the recruitments in BHU are very fair and transparent. All of us know that, right? There is no selectivity and everything happening there. So it's a beauty. Whereas what has happened with the Mishra brand, the original discussion where we started, it got diluted with the generations, right? So he was a manager who was managing the show, 25 kgs of pedas in a first come first serve, 250 grams. So he had that operational efficiency was there, right? He had a process, how much kgs to manufacture, right? What will be the process of distribution, how many packets per person. So that kind of planning in place, right? But nothing beyond that, right? Which has got, that is why the business model has changed, right? Obviously, he was a good manager. That is why he increased the operational efficiency to an extent, because all of us know in a product like food item, in management, there's a term called as integration. So he went in backward integration, right? And he controlled the raw materials that go into the peda manufacture, right? So you have the operational efficiency. I control the milk and milk-related products by having cows and buffaloes, in my custody, so that I'm able to get good quality milk instead of procuring from the market. Because if I get from the market, I'm not aware of the quality. So good management practices in place, right? But not a good leader. That's why it got diluted. Pandit Mohan Malia ji was a good leader, and that is why it never got diluted even across those generations. And it's a role model. BHU in any case, the education ecosystem is a role model for in the higher education ecosystem. Ji.
Sir, I am sorry, but I just wanted better clarity on this issue. So I just wanted to ask you regarding the analogy between BHU as well as Mishra Peda. One was a service-oriented industry, and one was a product-oriented industry. So that's number one. Number two is related to the leadership. There is obviously no doubt that the person who established BHU is of exemplary stature, and he has displayed tremendous leadership skills, especially when it goes into the governing council and how the election of the other body members as well as the recruitment of faculty members need to be considered. But at the same time, when it comes to Mishra Peda, what I understood is, I may be wrong, I do not know, because Mishra Peda is not very, it is not a very familiar brand or something like that concerned to this particular part of India. So, when it comes to the grandfather or somebody like that, what started off as a food business was later on carried forward by the next generations to come. And when I speak of the next generations, it is also very, very highly evident that unless and until they bring in some sort of business diversification, or unless and until they bring in much more products, especially related to the packaging and the different types of marketing activities, then they would not have been able to sell this kind of vast products into the market or make such a huge turnover, and also establish a franchisee business. And franchisee models are also multiple in nature, technically speaking of managers especially. So we have got a lot of different companies which are like that. Amul, for instance, Amul being a cooperative society, which started off with just milk. Currently, it has got n number of products, including frozen rasmalai, including frozen pizza and things like that. So this is what business diversification is about. Coming to the town from where I come from, that is Mangalore, we have got a very, a local brand which is called as Ideal Ice Cream. It just started with one particular unit wherein he sold something called as Gadbad ice cream. It became a hit, and his son of the future generation, so much of innovative things they have brought in. For example, we have got something called as the ice cream thali, in which the pan is also served. So the outer cover of pan is actually the kaju katli, and inside we have got ice cream, that is the pan ice cream. Amul also has got a same brand. So how can they not be leaders and only this particular person is a leader? That particular point I fail to understand, because as different cooperative societies are concerned, or different organizations or firms are concerned, they are also leaders because they are also generating a lot of market opportunities. They are also contributing in one way or the other to India's GDP. They are also bringing in some kind of innovation. So I would require a better clarity on this. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you for the questions. Okay. Two things. From the management perspective, we really go deep into it. Okay. There is nothing called as service or product. Okay. So the management has a dimension. We call it systems approach to management. So if I talk about what is management, one academic concept is what we learned from sir. Okay. Another academic concept which I personally is one of my favorites. Okay. Is the process model of management. Okay. So let us see, and then I'll take the help. Okay. So if this is the organization, okay, right? If this is the organization, right? That is where everything is not for self-consumption. We need to give back to the society. Something which Classy mentioned, right? So we take from the society. Fundamentally, in management, we call them as factors of production. Okay, so 5 M's: men, money, manpower, all those kind of things. Right? We process them, and then there's output in terms of salaries, taxes, wages, product and services. Right? Give me an example of a sector. You talked about this PEDA segment, right? And you talked about BH. Anji? You talked about PEDA, which you consider as something from the manufacturing sector or the production sector. Correct?
Yes.
And you consider this as a service sector. Right? That is your. So first question is, what you're trying to say is challenges and obstacles are being compared. That's your concern. Area number 1, right? I'll answer this straight away. Okay, there's a study by Harvard which clearly classifies about 160 industries. PEDA is not included in that, education is included, okay, which says that an organization, okay, be it PEDA wala, be it higher education ecosystem, be it any restaurant, okay, everything has a lot of processes. Okay, there's a teaching process, like in all of us are academicians, so there's a teaching process, there's an examination process, evaluation process, right? So a lot of processes are there. That's how the academic system is done. There's an administrative process. Okay? So like in an individual, an organization can be compared to an individual, right? So we have digestive system, respiratory system, nervous system. An organization also has a lot of systems. So, right? And so it's a combination of the various processes. Like what we subconsciously or consciously say is a part of the service sector or the manufacturing sector, fundamentally means that more than 50% processes are service oriented. Okay? Right? And if we talk about manufacturing sector, then more than 50% processes are towards manufacturing sector. That is all it means. Manufacturing will always have some service components, and service sector will always have some manufacturing components. Right? I do not know if you agree with this or not, but I'll give you an example of the PEDA wala, which you consider as the manufacturing segment, right? Product oriented, right? Products in any case will be required. That's what I'm trying to say. It's a manufacturing sector, no. But is it not providing some services? There's a shop to service. Okay, people are deployed to, I don't know, I'm assuming this, that there is a queue management system also. There's people deployed for queue management system, right? So he's actually doing that service. Now that is intangible. Okay, only the PEDA and the PEDA box may be tangible component. So what you say product, right, will have the product and services basically boils down to tangibility and intangibility, fundamentally. Right? The tangible components, and in the PEDA also there are a lot of intangible components as well. Right? Similarly, if you talk about the education ecosystem, the BHU. The BHU also has a lot of tangible things. Okay, what are the tangible things? The syllabuses. Okay? The Prarthana book. I don't know how many of you know this or not. The BHU also follows a Prarthana book. So a lot of material is given to the students also. That is published by BHU. This BHU publication is also there. Right? So there are tangible things also in the service sector, and there are intangible things also in the manufacturing or product-oriented sector. So first of all, what I am trying to say is that I am giving you these two examples to understand the difference between how things are managed. Okay, that was the difference. My logic was of talking about simply about what is the leadership and what is the management. Second point which you mentioned was that I am trying to help you out with that as well, and the audiences with that as well. Second was about innovation and diversification. So the second issue raised by you, right? I am not saying innovation is bad. Okay, I am not saying diversification is bad. Okay, we went little off the track over. We analyzed it, which is good enough because questions come only if you analyze it, process the information. Okay, but the fact still remains the same. Innovation, despite the innovation and the diversification, do you maintain the focus or not? Do you have the process or not? Okay, Mishra person, Mishra Pedawala, it's a brand. I've been told this. Okay, I'm not even aware. I heard this in the tea break. Okay, so Mishra is a brand here. Even if it's a regional brand, I do not know, right? Okay, so Mishra, if it's a brand of peda here, then Mishra brand wala has diluted because he also keeps Thakur peda in his shop. Okay, he's also started selling pav bhaji. So the diversification is happening in it's a, so you may become Tata, but Tata, if you talk about diversification with the Tata automobiles, it will be diversification within the automobile sector, right? It will not be beyond the automobile sector. But the Mishra Pedawala is going beyond the pedas, then sweets, and then now even pav bhaji and namkeen items. Right? So first, has he revisited his vision and mission statements or not? Does he have them or not? Is the first thing. Right? And that is when I start my discussion. Right? All academic institutes, all of us are academicians ultimately. Right? We are too engrossed in our day-to-day affair. The syllabus is given to us, there is a process. There is a syllabus given to us. Right? With very little flexibility to change that syllabus or have a better syllabus. We are too much occupied as faculty members, as professors, to complete it. Thank you. To complete the syllabus that we very often become leaders in the class. We are managing the syllabus delivery. Right? Here we need to understand the NEP, what NEP says, and there is another process in academic institutes which talks about the mentor-mentee. I don't know whether it is there in your ecosystems or not, but there is a concept called as mentor-mentee. Right? How many of us, now I'll tell you what a difference between leader and management is amongst all of us. Okay? I am included, I am part of you. Right? It's just that I place geographically in different territory altogether. That's not very important. Okay? How many of us have read the NEP document? Just raise your hands. 1, 2, 3. Okay. So if you see, hardly we out of us stand over 30 people in the session right now. Right? And hardly 10% have or 20% have gone through. 25 maybe almost. Because some people did not raise their hand. I know they have gone through the NEP document. Okay? So I also did not raise my hand. So I am also one of those people who did not raise my hands. Okay? So all of us are too engrossed in the management per se, in managing the day-to-day teaching, day-to-day activity that is being told to us, that we are not able to think beyond that. Classes said no, thinking beyond ourselves. So thinking beyond ourselves. NEP document, if you would have read the NEP document, all of us part of the academic ecosystem, right? And let me tell you, we are about being a leader, we are not even good managers. I'll tell you why. Because in management we clearly say, that it's very, very important for all of us to understand the environment. Okay? And the only thing which is constant is the change in the environment. So this is not the first NEP policy which has come to me. Right? But obviously there's a lot of things which are important for me here, takeaways from here. Right? Now if the external environment, which is a policy document, because if you talk about the environment, if I talk about management, I don't want to talk about this. Okay, so if you talk about the external environment, we classify into macro and micro. Okay? Technically. Okay, and macro elements talk about Okay, political, legal, economic, social, cultural, technological, legal, and economic environment. There is a micro dimension to the entire thing, and then there is the internal environment, obviously. So what organizations are supposed to do is they are supposed to understand the changes that are happening in the environment, and then devise a strategy to be successful given the situation. You cannot. Why do we need to understand the environment? What is management? You cannot influence the manager. You cannot influence the environment. So I understand the environment and do something which we call as the SWOT analysis. Have you heard this term before, SWOT?
Yes, sir.
Right? So from where do we get SWOT analysis? Primarily it is nothing, but I do an environment analysis, I do a pest analysis, I do a macro analysis. Opportunities and threats I pick up from the external environment. Okay? And strengths and weaknesses I pick up from the internal environment. So I do a matchmaking business. This is what it is, this is what I can do, these are my strengths, and I do a matchmaking. So I can only do a matchmaking by having an appropriate strategy. So opportunities, threats come to me separately, strengths, weaknesses come to me separately. How they can be linked to each other is my strategy. Right? Now NEP document has come up, we have not even read it. Right? I'm not ready to claim, okay? I also have not read it. Okay? I also read it little later than it had come. Okay? About a week's time. Okay? So if as an organization, forget about as an organization, forget about leadership, forget about as a manager, as a professor, let's talk about individual interest. People say being selfish is wrong, I say it is not absolutely wrong. Okay, I'll just give you an example. Because Karnataka is facing a lot of challenges with respect to NEP implementation, that's why I'm saying this. Okay, if I have to move ahead in the academic, if I have to plan my career progression, right? If I have to go in for my career progression, I need to understand, I need to have a appropriate strategy in place. For my career progression also. What will I do? How will I do? And this will depend upon what strengths and weaknesses I have as an individual, what strengths and weaknesses the organization to which I belong have, and what is the opportunity threats given to me. Right? So policy document is given to me. So I need to understand that and absorb that and have a appropriate strategy in place. Right? So instead of, just to give you an example, let's say talk about all of us belong to the Vidya Bharati system, so obviously not challenges within us. But obviously as a state we are facing a lot of challenges, right? All of us are aware of this. Now just to give a simple example, how many of us actually give skills to our students? How many of us focus, you don't have to answer this just for introspection purposes, you answer to yourself, okay? Like we talked about generative AI, right? Generative AI can only take on that one single task of the professor or teacher, which is knowledge transfer. Nothing more than that. Is that what a teacher is? That's a fundamental question. Or is it beyond knowledge transfer? Because syllabus only limits itself to the content transfer. Right? Are we going beyond the content or not? The human dimension of it, the creativity dimension of it, the leadership dimension of it. But to say that you become a leader and imbibe those leadership skills, I need to be leader first. The student, like when we, I do not know what you say in Karnataka, but in Delhi, where I belong to, we call students as bacha, okay? Our ghar mein bhi, our biological children also call as bacha. So those children in the class, those 60 students, 70 students, try to understand. See, we are teachers and we are professors. God has selected us. Whether we come into this profession by choice or compulsion, that's a different issue altogether. But the fact is, we are into this profession and it's a responsibility. Those 60 students are our bachas. So we should think about them the way we think about our biological children. We do not be biological related to them. Right? And those 60 children are 60 opportunities for me. If you see it, those 60 opportunities in the society, 60 data points are for me, right? So if there are 60 students in the class, those 60 students is an opportunity for me to create an impact in the society, to them. And similarly, drawing an analogy, again, analogy, is that if the children, if we say to my children, beta ye kijiye, do not watch TV, do not watch mobile. And if I am self as a parent watching mobile or TV, the children will not listen. Because he learns, imbibes by observing, not by listening. Okay, so behavior replication is more stronger through the observation route rather than what is being told to the children. It is equally true in the formal system to which we belong to. Right? So, we have to be role models. We are role models. Students are looking at us. Right? So, I should be a leader. If I teach management and I tell them that you learn opportunity threats, you do this, you do that, I should in the education ecosystem, I am talking about their career path, I am talking about you become the captain of the ship, CEOs, CMOs and everything, entrepreneurs and contribute to the economy and everything. Right? I do not talk about these things. Okay? What do I talk about? I talk to them in the nationalist context. Right? Now how do I say that? Become economic warriors of the country. Because I am from the management discipline, which is more commercial in nature. Right? So I link nationalism to the commercial context by saying become economic warriors of the country. A warrior is not only the person who is on the border in the form of defense forces. It's not only the intelligence forces, the raw and the IB and everything. It's also economic. In the geopolitical scenario, you see the national security composition. There are educations as well. Right? And today's geopolitical scenario is more controlled by the commercial interests as well. Right? So you should become economic warriors. Economic warriors, we also need to tell them that economic warriors does not mean that you run after money. Okay? So there we also need to imbibe the ethical principles to them. Right? And how will those ethical principles come in practice? Not by teaching a subject on values and ethics. That is important. You know, the society has fragmented because in the society there was something called as grandmother stories, grandfather stories, which you learn from our grandparents. Now society has actually got into nuclear setup and now both parents are working. So nobody is teaching them moral stories. So obviously those tasks need to be taken by the formal education system, be it schools, be it higher education ecosystems. Right? But by also practicing by myself being ethical, no. If I come to the class late, if I go early, if I do not do the evaluation properly, if I am biased in my evaluation, it reflects bad on me. I cannot tell it, you be ethical, when I myself not ethical. Right? Right? So a leader can create leaders. So it says, you know, as it is said in Sansthan, in RSS, RSS is nothing. It is me who is RSS. It starts with me actually. I am Sansthan. You do not propagate what the Sansthan values are, you practice those values. It's in our blood. And when it's in our blood, you fundamentally then go ahead and are in a position to command others or ask others to do it. If you're not self-following it and you ask others to follow it, they will not do it. Nobody will do that. Your children will not listen to you, your students will not listen to you, your colleagues will not listen to you. And then you will come to a conclusion, society does not listen, they are not ethical. The fact of the matter is, I am not ethical. Just to give an example. Okay? It may not be universally true, and there could be many more examples where I am not, because students learn from what I am doing. Right? So if I say you have a strategy for your life, by understanding the environment, I also need to understand the environment. Okay? I'll give an example. Okay? Another contextual example from Karnataka itself. This example happened in the morning before the inaugural. I will not names because I was not aware of this example. Okay? So Nandanji madam ke saath discussion ho raha tha, so we were just discussing over a cup of tea, morning tea. I mean not this evening tea. I just talked about it, Bedawala and BHU. Okay? Rani Channabaira Devi. है ना? आपने सुना है? Beautiful story she told me. So I was just listening to it and then I asked for and wrote down the names. Okay? Now all of us know that she was fought against Portuguese. We ever do this? Why is she famous? The same person I talk about as a leader and the same person I talk about as a manager. Okay? So there is no scope for papers. Right. So what was the strategy? How was she managing it? Cardamom also, right? What was the strategy? How she was managing So मेरे मुंह से निकल गया about management. Okay, so now this is the concept of management, right? So what is unique about the things that we are selling? Why is she famous? We talk about entrepreneurs, women are backward, they have started working today. No, long ago it used to happen. We need to rediscover ourselves about entrepreneurship, women empowerment, everything. In fact, you know, as all of us know this statement, because it has been said by Modi ji also, our finance department, our defense department belong to the women for education department. Saraswati Ma, Lakshmi Mata, and Durga Mata. All three important portfolios in the cabinet goes to the women. So who says India is backward? Toppers in schools. Right? That is the psychology that we belong to. Who says entrepreneurship is bad? Women are not, they have started doing business now. Raniji did it long ago, and there will be many more examples, right? Correct? So that is why we should understand that gender equity was a concept in our society. It was always there. I am not saying gender, females are better or males are better. I am saying both are equal, hands in glove. Right? That concept you need to understand. Now coming back to my own example, because I have to talk in the context of management and leadership, right? Now this Raniji was selling that cardamom and everything, right? As a manager, as a woman entrepreneur. What was the strategy? As a manager, she was managing the show. And exports were happening. But if we talk about export, globalization, that time 1500 AD, exports were happening. Right? What was the strategy? What was so unique? It was a product based, madam, it was a product based, as you mentioned, manufacturing product based kind of a thing. Industry, she was in. What was unique about it? Why so much demand? Okay, just to give you a hint, okay, the strategy developed as a woman entrepreneur in 1500 AD by Raniji is practiced by entrepreneurs in Haveri as of now. Okay, so what happens in Haveri is what was actually innovation is what Madam you talked about, right? So she innovated at a point of time as a woman entrepreneur. What was unique? She developed. Any idea? What happens in Haveri? What Rani did at that point of time? She developed cardamom wells. She did not mention that. So good. Elaborate use example. You may be knowing more than I know, right? I only learned this in 4-5 minutes. So you may know more about it, right? But then,
English is not well.
that's okay. Even if you speak their language, it's okay. I will assume you have spoken right. I will in any case repeat in English to the extent I know.
Can translate my words to you. ಅವಳು ಹಲವಾರು ಬಾವಿಗಳನ್ನು ತೋಡಿಸ್ತಾಳೆ. ಆ ಕಪ್ಪು ಮೆಣಸು ಏನಿರುತ್ತೆ ಅದನ್ನ ಬಾವಿಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ಕೊಳೆಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಅದನ್ನ ಬಿಳಿ ಮೆಣಸಾಗಿ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಆ ಸಿಪ್ಪೆಯನ್ನು ತೆಗೆದು ಬಿಳಿ ಮೆಣಸಾಗಿ ಮಾಡಿ ಅವಳು ವಿದೇಶಗಳಿಗೆ ಮಾರ್ತಾ ಇರ್ತಾಳೆ. ಅದರ ಮೂಲಕ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಕಪ್ಪು ಮೆಣಸಿಗಿಂತ ಬಿಳಿ ಮೆಣಸಿಗೆ ಹಣ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಸಿಗುತ್ತೆ ಅಥವಾ ಬಂಗಾರ ಅಥವಾ ಬೆಳ್ಳಿ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಸಿಗುತ್ತೆ ಅನ್ನೋದು ಅವಳಿಗೆ ಗೊತ್ತಿರುತ್ತೆ. ಹಾಗಾಗಿ ಅವಳು ಅದಕ್ಕೋಸ್ಕರ ಬಾವಿಗಳನ್ನು ತೋರಿಸಿ ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ ನೀರು ತುಂಬಿಸಿಬಿಟ್ಟು ಕಪ್ಪು ಮೆಣಸನ್ನ ಬಿಳಿ ಮೆಣಸಾಗಿ ಪರಿವರ್ತಿಸುವ ಕೆಲಸ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ. ಮತ್ತೆ ಅದನ್ನು ಮಾರೋದ್ರ ಮೂಲಕ ಮತ್ತೆ ಅವಳು ಹಣ ಸಂಪಾದಿಸಿ ತನ್ನ ಸೈನ್ಯವನ್ನ ಅಥವಾ ಜನರಿಗೆ ಬೇಕಾದ ಎಲ್ಲ ಜನಹಿತದ ಕಾರ್ಯಗಳನ್ನು ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಹೋಗ್ತಾರೆ. 54 ವರ್ಷಗಳ ಕಾಲ ಆಳಿದಂತಹ ರಾಣಿಯವರು. ಹಾಗಾಗಿ ಅವಳ ಆಳ್ವಿಕೆ ಕಾಲ ಕೂಡ ಅವಳು ಬಹಳ प्रसिद्धिಯನ್ನು ಹೊಂದಿದ್ದಾರೆ.
काला पेपर जो था उसको धोए में करके उसको व्हाइट करके
ये बोल रहा ना, ये मुझे पता है. ठीक है. So we know this on the same platform, correct? Good. Okay. Just to differentiate the product. Product तो वही है. It is the same product, cardamom. Correct. Put it in the well for some time. The chemical along with the water will kind of some metamorphic changes will happen in the product. It will become white with passage of time. Okay, and you create a fuss in the market that white cardamom is better than the black cardamom. Everybody is selling black, no? So product differentiation happened. right? And you make it like today we talk about why do we need Apple iPhone? Because secrecy. What secret? I am not doubting. I'm not saying I'm not against Apple iPhone. I'm not ready to remarket. Okay? I'm a marketing professor. I say make others fool, but don't fool yourself at least. Okay? In our time, there used to be something called as postcard. We send letter in postcard. Everybody used to read it during the transportation, in the courier, right? Post office. What is hidden here? What secrecy? Today we want Apple iPhone because secrecy is important. So we need to be sure how much secrecy to what related. Financial security may be important. Identity security may be important, but not everything needs to be very secure. Right? So similarly, sometimes marketing people, because I'm from marketing discipline, so I can say this very clearly, marketing people sometimes create a statement, a relevant thing becomes important, and then you sell product on that basis. Okay? So Raniji also said that white, this is better than the black, product differentiation, visible differences, and you market it well, gets into the society, and foreigners used to come and buy that product. It used to be exported. Just think the kind of innovation and creativity, right? And today this practice is Naveri, I've been told. Correct? Right? Now this is what a manager is. So you are managing your business, okay, and trying to go in for product differentiation, okay, and going in for a strategy to go in for product differentiation in terms of establishing those wells. And using that product differentiation to be able to generate volumes of business for yourself and the society at large, for people involved. Okay? Just extend this example. Just I'll take your concern. No? You have some concern, right? You raise your hand. No, okay. Another thing that we need to learn, not from the Rani's example, but I'll just extend this business example to for some other context. Maybe in Rani's case also, I'm not very sure of this. Okay? Right now, COVID happened, right? I mean, long ago. I mean, 2020 to 22, right? 2 years COVID. A lot of businesses were there, right? Are those people working for me? Are employees or are they my family? It is all in the mind, right? So what happened is, if it's a family, if they are my employees, what is happening in the IT sector today? What happened in COVID? You see the commercial interest first. Okay, the commercial interests are falling in IT sector. COVID, no business, commercial interest falling down, no profit, no revenue, no profit. I chuck people out. What happens to them? None of my business. That's a commodity approach. You take people as commodities. Okay. Similarly, these days in the IT sector, you talk about people are being chucked out because you see a recession happening in the Q2 or Q3 quarter of 2024 in the US and the other economies. Okay? Right? What is Tata doing? It is hiring those employees. Because if I consider them as my family, then I will not check them out. I will say, these are my people, I am because of them, right? And I will take care of them. Like, chula bolte hai na? Chula, you understand, right? Right? Agar COVID mein, if I am concerned about my chula, it should work on. Nobody should stay angry. I am taking care of my mates, I am taking care of my security people, I am taking care of the construction work. If I am into business, I am taking care of them. Maybe don't give them full salary. They understand, they will understand this. But at least give some constant revenue source should be available for them so that their chula is also taken care of. So there were two kinds of people working in the society. Somebody who chucked people out and somebody who reduced the salaries or the wages and took care of the people. That's the Indian way. Do not chuck people out. The way you take care of your kitchen, take care of their kitchen as well. No. Your children's education is important. What happens to the education of those people? So Raniji, so when I say you talk about wealth creation, become economic person and everything, what I try to say is that create wealth creation for the country, wealth creation for the stakeholders, and not just the people who invest in your business. So I shift them from a focus of profit, because in business we use a term called as profit. We know this, right? That is single bottom line. I shift the focus from single bottom line to triple bottom line. Take care of the people, your employees. Take care of the planet. You know, we say Vayu Devta, Jala Devta, Agni Devta. On one hand we say Vayu Devta, on one hand we do water pollution, air pollution. Jal Devta, water pollution. What is the? On one hand we are saying they are God, on another hand we are not taking care of them. So God only for puja purposes. To take care, so that they bless us. What are we giving them to the gods? Nothing. Are we taking care of them? So similarly, I can have in a manufacturing sector per se, I can have, just to give an example, in a manufacturing sector per se, I can have lot of things. Let's say I can have child labor, okay, or I may be manufacturing something which is generating a lot of pollution, air pollution, water pollution may be happening. What happens to the planet? I am saving on the cost, okay, I am passing the cost in my pricing, so my products are also cheaper. I will have good market share, good profitability. But is it sustainable? Is it environment friendly? No. Right? And sustainability, I mean, if you talk about sustainability, so we need to talk about wealth creation for all the stakeholders. If you go to various forts, I am not visiting any forts here. Forts, why I am saying is not because it is my favorite, it is not at all my favorite. Okay? Let me tell you clearly. But some of them, because of my nature of work, I have to take people to some, because when a lot of people come now, they need to visit some places. So forts they like. If you go to forts, you see the eco buildings which they have. For the Rani, for the different temperatures in different rooms, how they manage the flow of sun and air without disturbing the planted trees, without cutting the mountains. And today we talk about green buildings. It was always there, right? Right? So taking care of, so what I am trying to say is, coming back to the point, be economic warriors. Profit is important, but people and planet are also important. So do not drive the car at 120 speed where it can go out of control. Drive at 80 where the car stays under control and your fuel optimization also happens. So we talk about profit optimization rather than profit maximization. Economic warriors is important, but the intensity should be reduced. So they need to understand the balance between profit, people and planet. Okay? Do we understand this? I hope we understand this, right? Okay? Life is nothing. Okay? Life is all about balancing things.
Yes.
Okay? Personal, professional and everything, right? Okay. Now talking about, now this was the management of Raniji as an entrepreneur, as a woman entrepreneur at that point of time. Whatever we talk about. Right? Let us talk about leadership qualities of Raniji. Are we aware of Rani that she was fighting against Portuguese and what was the strategy? Kya hua? You saying something, no? Okay. Do we know about the leadership qualities? All of us, do we know that Raniji fought Portuguese? Are we aware of this history? Are you aware or not? We are aware, no? Right? So what happened in that strategy? But you are in a better position to tell than I am, right? For me, it's a morning piece of breakfast, which I am digesting, and I will research more on this. Right? So what was her strategy to defeat Portuguese? Portuguese were defeated. I hope you are aware of this, right? What is the strategy? There's a, please spare me if I come pronouncing wrongly, I'm just trying to be as correct as I can be, okay? There was a king called as Vijayanagara king, okay? And then there was Bahmanis, right? Right? I don't know how correct I have pronounced, but I have, to the best of my capability, I have done that, okay? Excuse me for being wrong if I have done that, okay? So both these kings were not in tune with each other. Okay? Now if you have to fight the Portuguese, how do you get the team together? I as a Rani cannot fight alone. And these two parties also independently cannot fight. But the strength is in team. So getting, her strategy was getting the strength of all the three on a single platform to defeat Portuguese. So two people were not among each other, so negotiation skills would have happened, team building skills would have happened, diplomacies would have happened, right? After all that negotiation, diplomacy and everything, all these three people united and fought the Portuguese and defeated them. Otherwise it is difficult. This is what a leader is. Give a vision, right? And mobilize resources. Okay? Mobilize resources means it's a big resource. Okay? Mobilizing elephants and manpower, the warriors in my army is management. Okay? Managing resources in terms of getting all the three on the for a single objective is leadership. That is also managing resources, this is also managing resources. But this is a micro level management. Okay? How many people, how many warriors in my army should go for the fight, how many elephants and whatever other nation should go. Micro level management, that is management. As a leader, getting all the three of them on a single board and fighting the war is a macro level management. So macro level management is a leadership. So she had a vision. And she was able to achieve that because of the leadership skills that she had. Okay? Correct? Now I'll give you another example. Right? All of us know about the this is not a religious discussion which I am trying to do. It's not religious, it is just contextual. Okay? All of us know about the Ram Pratishthan which happened on 22nd, right? So in that context, I had some material with respect to the leadership qualities of Lord Ram. Okay? A lot of work has been done on that. But one thing before we talk about Lord Ram, let's talk about leadership qualities of in Ramayana, right? So what are the leadership qualities that we see? What is the management principles that we see in Ramayana? Okay? Just to give you an example. What's the time is it? Okay, I'll wind up. Okay. I'm giving an example of a concept of. I'll just wind it up. Okay. The first principle is that Lord Ram was ambitious. Okay? Often we see ambition is bad, no? Is it bad? No, because ambition drives you. The purpose of life drives you, right? Right? So what was his ambition?
To establish the value system.
Value system. Establish the value system. At whatever cost it comes. Okay? Very often we list the ambition to the episode of Ravan and Sita. That is management. As I was talking about, no? Managing the man force, managing the Vanar Sena and getting the work done is management. Okay, but as a leader, he was very clear to establish the value system in the society. He established the society. Okay? Right? A lot of examples can be thought about it. So if you have any questions, you can ask and then maybe we can have some other time to discuss things. Okay? How much time do we have, Krishna ji, for? 1:30. So we can cut it for some time, right? Okay, good.
1:15, but we started late.
We started late, so we'll end late. Okay, good. Another thing, another quality of a leader, he should be very humble. Okay? He should follow the principle of participatory decision making. Just to give an example, okay, of humbleness first and participatory decision making next. In humbleness, if you talk about, okay, few episodes are coming to my mind right now. All of us know about the squirrel incidents, right? When Ram Setu was being built up, okay, when Setu was being built up, squirrel was doing the work and the Vanars, the monkeys, okay, all of us know about the Vanar Sena, right? So Vanars making fun of squirrel, ki you are doing nothing, right? And very often as teachers we see, we cannot do the change in our institute, in our society. So we get really bogged down. Okay? The leader was so humble that he came and embraced the efforts by the squirrel. It is said that the lines on the squirrel are a reflection of the hand movement on the squirrel's body by Lord Ram. Okay? Correct? So be humble. No work is big or small. Correct? Another quality of Lord Ram, which is coming to my mind right now, is participatory decision making. Okay? So all of us know that from the opposite army, Vibhishan had come to join Ram Sena. And all the army chiefs of Ram Sena were not very much favorable to this decision. They were still doubtful and had their own concerns. So they were not very open to the idea. Right? Now, being the chief of the army, Lord Ram could have very much imposed his decision on the army. He will be part of the team. He did not. Okay? In the absence of Vibhishan, he had a discussion with his army chiefs. Okay? Had a discussion, and then as a consensus was arrived through the discussion process, and when everybody was comfortable, then only Vibhishan was taken inside the camp. So a leader does not take a decision and impose. It was a decision. Consider the decisions of the subordinates, okay? Right? Do not impose it on the subordinates. Superior subordinate is just a communication process. It is only a process designed for flow of information, flow of decision making, flow of accountability. Nothing more than that. Nobody, superior subordinate does not mean superior and inferior. It is just a working relationship that is established because in organization, as I mentioned, there are a lot of things that need to be done, and you established a relationship between the various job roles, and then you assign people those jobs. Okay, so everybody is doing their own job, right? Even a survival is doing his own job. I am doing my own job. You are doing your own job. There is no difference practically, right? But we as a society over a period of time have made it like superior and inferior. That's a different thing altogether. Okay, and we can keep on discussing these things more and more. Okay, so another example that I can give you is clarity in vision. Okay, as I said that a leader needs to be visionary, right? So visionary example is establishing the rightness in the society was one vision which he had given, right? Okay. Now all of us know Lord Ram had had established a system where he was honoring the words of his father. Right? All of us know this. Right? Because all of us know that it was the communication between Kakeji and Dasharatji that because of which Lord Ram had to leave. Right? Now it created a lot of temporary chaos in the system. Okay? The king system and the kingdom system at that point of time. Right? But Lord Ram, because of his matureness and because of his spiritual enlightenment, and Lord himself actually practically, okay, did not get impacted by what was happening. Okay, that is another quality that we need to learn from a leader. He or she should not be impacted by what is happening around. The vision should be very clear, and you should keep on working on the vision statement. The actions, as Kailaji said, should always be in place. Now, because he was not disturbed, because seeing his composure, the chaos also settled down a little bit with passage of time. Okay, right? The chaos, otherwise it could have become a revolt in the kingdom did not happen because as a leader, Lord Ram was honoring the words of his father. So change management was happening. Now when change is happening, Lord Ram was supposed to become the king. All of a sudden the decision is changed. Right? So change management, the leader was composed, so that happened very smoothly and there was no revolt within the kingdom. right? So leader had demonstrated the composure, right? And throughout his exile also we know he maintained the composure, right? Another piece of discussion from the tea break in the lunch, okay? All of us know about Lord Ram. We talk, frequently about Lord Ram, right? Very few of us talk about Bharati, right? Now Bharati, if you see, Bharati was not after money. He was into relationships. So what Kailash mentioned, emotional bond within the family and among the people, EQ, emotional quotient. That is very, very important, right? Now they were brothers, right? And if we if we focus only on two brothers right now, Ramji and Bharatji, right? Bharatji and they were brothers, right? Now Bharatji's bond was Lord Ram, as a brother was so strong, and being a younger brother he was so strong, that no materialistic gain, it was a huge gain, kingdom gain, being the king, okay? He preferred values over possessing the materialistic kingdom. And all of us know what Bharat did, right? And it is also said in Ramayana that Bharat used to dig the ground and sleep on it, just to tell that Lord Ram, if he's in the forest, in the exile, if he's sleeping on the ground level, I have to go a little step down. So he dug the place, a probable king, not interested in materialistic gains, believed in the value system, digged up a place for sleep, going a level down the ground level, and used to sleep there. That kind of value system is something which you need to learn, right? And a lot of examples also we can talk about, right? Okay. One thing which I mentioned was before I wind up, I had a lot of things, but probably anyways. Strength and weakness we talk about. Very, very important requirement of a leader, okay, to motivate people, okay. Now practically if you see materialistically, if you see, there was a war there was a futuristic war, in the future there was a war lined up on the wall, it was written on the wall, there was going to be a war between Ram and Ravan, right. The strength, if you do a SWOT analysis of Ram and Ravan, before the war, on the materialistic front, Ravan was more powerful. That was why he was egoistic, no? Somebody was defeated Devtas. More powerful, more arms and ammunitions. High technology, high innovation in place. Okay? Whereas Ramji had a force which was not that much trained. Correct? So motivating them, and that motivation led to a concept where this war, multiple things went into it. So motivating, believing in what you have, and then cashing on whatever resources you have, instead of looking at the others, what the other person has. Believe in yourself and take it forward in achieving the goal that you want to achieve. Not getting defocused by the strength of the opposite party is very, very important. Okay? Working on your strengths, so you motivated them. Another thing, NEP context, skills. It was, all of us know, it was a Vanar Sena that was in hand of Lord Ram, apart from other people in the army. Basically, major constituency, 80% of the army composition was of the Vanars, right? I'm not talking the percentage, just an example, okay? Now, majority were Vanar, so they were not trained to fight practically. So, imbibing those skills. So, Ram was a Kshatriya, right? And being a Kshatriya, he trained, imbibed those skills, had the training camps for his work, for his people in the army, trained them how to fight. So leader not just communicates, he also imbibes those skill sets in his people to achieve the objective. Just motivation will not work. You motivate them to go and fight, they will die. Right? So equipping them by training them, by skilling them is very, very important, so that you are able to achieve the desired results. Okay? So we can discuss more on this, but I think with this I'll end my communication right now, my discussion here. And if you have any doubts, you can maybe ask.